Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is an FFD. I'm going to just make a box. This is going to be our test box that we're going to like torture and do shit to. Make sure. Say what?
Don't be mean.
I'm not sacrificing for learning. It's fine. Okay, so I got a box. I need segments because I need segments when I want bends. So it's ended with poly. I'm going to do the FFD. Remember, FFD, there's a few different types. All they give you are just different amounts of points. These are the points here. These are control points. And just remember, when I open it up and select the control points, I can now select individual control points and move them around. And I can also select a bunch of them and move them around. And it will kind of warp the shape to what I need. And it's very useful to create weird shapes. Okay, so that's number one. So that was FFD. Now, how do I quad stuff? So let's say I'm doing, it seems to happen a lot with people with cylinders. So I'm doing that, and then the top of this is obviously not a quad because it's got tons of edges, correct? So the way to quad it is, there's a couple of ways. If it's a cylinder, there's a very quick way, which I'll show you now in a sec, but first I'll do the normal quad way. Select 2 points. You can right click and connect, or there's also a connect button somewhere here. I prefer right clicking because it's right there. So right click and connect, and it'll draw a line between them. The only problem is you can't connect across a line. So if I try to connect here, it won't work because it's like this line is bisecting it. So I'll need to use the cut tool. Hover over one of the vertex until it turns into the cross. Click, and then hover over the other vertex until it turns to the cross, and click. And be careful when you do that, because if you go to the line, you'll make a new vertex, and you don't want that. Okay? Oh shit. Are we good so far? Okay. Now, what's a quick way? This only works with cylinders, by the way. To quad all of this. So instead of quadding it, I'm going to try everything. I'm going to make everything into a try. Remember, we said tries are okay. We don't like them, but they're okay. I can go down here to see where it says tessellate, and if I click on the settings for tessellate, I get this. I could either tessellate from the center, which will create quads, or I can tessellate, click this from the faces, which will make tries. And I just hit OK, and now that's all done. They're all tries. Not great, but better than having an end on. Okay, so that's a quick way, but that only works for like cylinder faces. Moving shit exactly. So someone's asking me how to move exactly. Just make sure you're in the move tool, and you can right click, and instead of move here, there's a little square. Click on that, and you can offset by the world exactly by X, Y, and Z coordinates. Doesn't matter what you do, just as long as you remember it. I always like to move things in 5s, so that way if I ever need to move something back, I know it's always 5 or a multiple of 5. Doesn't matter which way you do it. So like for example 5, boom, so I know I've moved it 5 in the Y direction. If I wanted to go back, obviously just -5, and done. Cool. Next thing, the screw. Oh my god. Okay, this one's a bit I do not remember how to do this. There's a thing called a screw somewhere. I will probably come back to that. I can't remember screw. Is that this guy? No, not this guy. Well, you can do this, which is pretty cool. I do not remember screw. Oh, there we go. Helix. Oh my god, screw. Fuck. Okay, yeah, no. We can do it. So there's a thing called a helix, and it's a line. It's in splines. You see that? It's kind of a screw. Oh god. It's sort of a screw-looking shape, but if you go to the settings, there's the radius for the top and the bottom. I'm just going to make them the same. Radius 2 at the top, radius 2 at the bottom. The height is obviously the height. How many turns it has is like so. There we go. Cool. And there we go. We got a screw. And if I turn on rendering, I can enable and render and enable and viewport, and now I've rendered like it's got thickness, and I can control the thickness here. How many sides it is controls how smooth it is. And I think there's a thing here to control segments. Is there? There is not. Okay, but it's not amazing because it's like it's got quite a few polygons. It's not the worst, but it's not amazing. So you do get crap load of polygons if you do that. Cool, but that's a screw in case someone wanted. So that is in splines instead of the normal modifiers. Cool. Slice through. Okay, so that's easy. Slice plane. People who don't remember, a slice plane is, let me just edit poly this guy back to edit poly. If I select a bunch of polygons, click on slice plane, I get this plane that I can then rotate and move around. If my angle snaps is on, it'll rotate exactly by 5 degrees. Sugar. Come on. You can move it over here, and you can see a visual indicator of where it's going to slice showing up. And then I hit slice, that is sliced. And now I have that edge. Now you got to be careful though, because if I select only these two polygons, for example, and I do the slice plane, right there, that works fine. Slice that, done. Am I okay? I am not. Why am I not okay? This guy has just turned into an n-gon. Alright, so they were quads, but because I added an edge here, and I can prove it by moving this guy now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 edges. So be careful of that. When you slice something, it affects polygons that are beside them as well. So you'll need to quad that up as well. How to attach everything. So let's say this guy is the main dude, and I want this dude to be the controller, like the base for everything else. To attach stuff, very simple. In editable poly, click attach, and just click on everything else. If you have a ton of stuff, like, and you don't want to click on everything, oh, you can also click here, by the way. You can attach there. But if you have a ton of stuff and you don't want to go through and click everything, you can just hit this attach list, and it should show you a list of everything that you can just attach all together. Cool. Alright. Pivot points. Okay, so you can see now that when I move these things, they're all attached, they're all together. Let's say I want them to move from the center, like, because if I rotate this now, this is kind of annoying. It's rotating around that dude because he was the main dude. That's but what if I wanted to rotate in the center around everything else? So this I have not shown you yet, as far as I know. What you'll need to do is move to this third hierarchy panel, the little octopus thing, and you've never seen this. So the octopus thingy, when you go there, there's a bunch of stuff. What we do need is we just want to affect pivot only. So affect pivot only, and now you get these like arrows around my move arrows, and this means I can move my pivot point to wherever I want. If I have snaps turned on, remember, right click on snaps to bring up whether I want to snap to grid or to vertex or whatever. If I have snaps on, I can snap to the grid, so it's exactly snapped right there. Perfect. Affect pivot on. And now when I rotate, it should, enough snaps, it should rotate around the center, like so. That is now my new pivot point, okay? Now what happens if I rotate like this and I'm like, okay, actually I want it to be here, but I want the pivot point. My problem is my pivot point is now sideways because I just rotated the whole thing. There are a few other things here. There is align to object. I can center to the object. I can align to the object, or I can align to world. And if I align to world, that will align back to the world space. So all the options are there. And then turn off affect pivot only. Well, hey, now the pivot point is here. The pivot point is also where it's going to spawn from in Unity. So right now, if I spawn this in Unity, a little bit of it is going to be hidden in the ground. All right, if I spawn at the ground, it's going to spawn exactly like this. These two guys will be up in the air. This dude is going to be like halfway into the ground. Okay, that makes sense to everyone? Awesome. Okay, we want to take a little break before I move on to the next stuff.
Yeah?
Okay, let's take a little break.